Before we get into the infinite survival mode level and the on building a game, I just want to explain a little bit on the multiplier over here. This multiplier has to do with a global difficulty system, which I'll just explain in a minute. Let me first just tidy up the folder over here. If you have your own game, you'll probably have a ton of material and folders, and it needs to be tidy. So I'm just going to place all the waves I've done over here. Okay, so that has been tidied up. Okay, I'm going to create a multiplier, multiplier data, what you call a global difficulty system, and you will understand better. So I'll just go to, it's a scriptable object, so you will create it from here, create ShmupBoss multiplier data. I'm going to call it this one, difficulty 0, and you'll see. So you see, this is the multiplier data. Now it's the default settings, all are 1. And you have, for example, enemies vitals multiplier. If this is 2, for example, if an enemy, for example, had a health value of 50, if this is 2, that value will be 100. If this is also 2, the speed will be faster. So instead of it being 2, it will be multiplied by 2. If on the other hand it's 0.5, it will be multiplied by 0.5. So this one, and it just makes sense for all the other settings. You can just read them over here. And to apply this, you see over here that we have an array and a difficulty level, and you have by multiplier. I'm sorry, but this was necessary to do it this way. Maybe there are other ways, but now this is how it's working. So let me just add, for example, difficulty 0. Let's keep it like this. Let me add difficulty 1. I'm going to just, maybe 2, it's too much. And keep, let's keep the player, let's make it slower. And let's make difficulty 2, just changing the player, the enemy even more. Okay, so now you see our difficulties. I'm going to apply them over here. When you see this number set by 1, it means it's selecting the second element in the array, because an array starts from 0. If you set it at 2, it's going to select difficulty 2. If you set it at 0, it will select 0. But this number will only be used if you have by multiplier. Once I get into the building a game and you see the menu, you'll see better. I'll tell you what, maybe I can even show you now. Let me just open up the scenes. Space Hero, the main menu, and start it from the main menu. So if we start here, you see you have settings, and you have here the difficulty. So if you pick easy, it's going to select the array number 0, the first one, this one, the second one, this is the third one, and it will be saved. And let me just start. And if you see here, you have a multiplier, and it's set by game manager. By game manager means that the settings in the main menu will determine which element of the array is chosen, and not this one. Yes, this is, I think, as best as I can explain it. Once you see the main menu scene, this one will use the difficulty from the settings. And if I open these scenes, which are single scenes, you'll notice that I have a different, inside the multiplier, I'm taking the difficulty by this component. So I'm using this one. Let's just go back to our scene, and it will be a little bit more clear. So let's set this one at 0, and let's just put one enemy. Maybe instead of the boss, we just pick a standard one. And let me see if it has a weapon or not. It's not active. Let me activate it, and let's hit play. So this is the first difficulty. I'm going to choose the second difficulty. So I'm going to pick difficulty level by 1. So it's going to pick this one. And let me play. So if you notice, the player is slower and the enemies are faster and they shoot faster. To make it even more obvious, I'm going to change this difficulty into something like this. Let me hit play. So then they are so quick now that when they start firing, you can see. Okay. So I think you now have somewhat of an idea how this works. So for example, if I pick difficulty level 2, it's going to pick this one. But this will only be used, even you can see here in the tooltip, if this one is by multiplier. If you want the main menu settings to work, you'll need to set it by game manager, and we'll get this once we start building a level. And you see here inside this multiplier data, it also has the multiplier data infinite. The infinite data is slightly different. As you see, there are small numbers used. These are incremented. So once we get into the infinite level, I'm just going to show you. Basically, whenever you progress one level in the infinite spawner, this will be added to your enemies. And that's the multiplier. I hope you have some idea on how it works.